can see, just there I had quite a malfunction, but to no other reason other than my own stupidity for really yanking on that pistol grip and trying to fold the brace unnecessarily hard. That won't happen to you if you don't do the same thing I did, and I certainly won't be doing that again. That is not a flaw of the design of the receiver at all. These SB Tactical braces, that thing was hard to pull up, and so in doing so, I was giving pressure on the grip while pulling upwards on the receiver, and what do you expect to happen to PLA, even PLA Plus, when you do that? It snapped. Luckily, that receiver was one that I actually had printed, and it didn't come out super great. It was enough that it would function, but I printed a second one in eSun PLA Plus. That was an atomic PLA, enhanced PLA. This one was an eSun PLA Plus, so luckily I had another spare receiver. If I didn't, it would be a tougher time because I would have had to print another 2-day print or a 1.5-day print. But luckily I had a second receiver, and we're back 1 day later with another CZAR. So, thankfully, I have this all black receiver, and I put it together. Didn't take me nearly the amount of time that it did the first time. Everything's functioning. Mag release. If you want to see what it looks like without the barrel shroud on it, this just kind of pops off, and there you are, the Scorpion in all of its classic goodness. Now I'm going to fold the brace while being very careful and use that top of the Bushnell red dot to just really put some pressure on it. And now we're all good. So, not going to make that mistake again. That was, like I said, all my own error and not the error of the design. In my impressions of the receiver, it did nothing but work exactly how it should. Alright, so we're back out here at the range. We've got our CZAR, the VZ61 build, round 2. We're going to try to not put so much force on the grip that we break the receiver in half this time. And I'm going to see if this receiver has the same zero. I haven't changed anything with the red dot. I put it in the same place. We're going to see if it holds the same zero as the last receiver. I doubt it, but let's give it a shot. All right, we got our CZAR. We're going to see if it holds the same zero. Looks like it holds the same zero. Now that we got that first shot out of the way, we're going to try a few more at about 15 yards and see how it runs. It looks like this red dot is pretty much zeroed. I may try a couple shots on that zeroing target here. Okay, so I just realized this red dot is not zeroed properly, so I'm gonna try to zero it in, get a few shots off, and once I get it dialed in, we'll do some more plinking. All right, got the red dot zeroed. As you can see, in its folded position, the CZAR, while this isn't an ideal way to hold it, it does kind of fit in your pocket, even with that extra barrel shroud. Now pulling it out is not really practical. However, this is the original intention of this weapon, was to be put in a holster on your belt or on your leg. After shooting a few rounds with this, I had a couple jams, and I think that may be the result of this magazine release. This magazine fitment is pretty tight. What I had done with the previous receiver is I sanded the inside of the mag well pretty heavily to make it fit a nice smooth way, and with this one I
I didn't quite do as much sanding just because I thought maybe I over sanded last time, but I think it turns out it probably needs a little bit more filing. It goes in and goes out all right, but I think that may be partially to blame for some of the feeding issues it's having when it's jamming. So, without further ado, let's do some more shooting now that this thing is zeroed. Yeah, you can see it's just not quite. That's in there. All right, smooth, 10 rounds, no malfunctions, bolt hold open. Good to go, safety on. One of the things I've been wanting to test is if the VZ61 will shoot at all at distance. And so we're gonna give it a shot at around 30 yards. And we got a jam. Feeding issue. All right, we're gonna see if she goes now. There we go. Pretty accurate, I think. Bolt hold open. All right. I think it was just the mag there.
Alright you guys, so the next thing that happens in this video, I'm definitely not super psyched on. Had an accidental discharge, and you're about to see what happened. The reason that it makes this an accidental discharge is there are 4 main rules of firearm safety. Treat every gun as it's loaded, which I was treating it as it was loaded. Rule number 2, never let your muzzle cover anything you're not willing to destroy. The weapon was pointed downrange in a safe direction. Rule number 3, keep your finger off the trigger and outside the trigger guard when you're ready to shoot. And you're about to see that my finger was outside of the trigger guard, and it is a little difficult to see, but my index finger is over the front part of the trigger guard. It is not inside the trigger guard. I did not have my finger inside that trigger guard. Rule number 4, be sure of your target and what is in line with your target. I was observing this, and there was nothing in the line of fire when my gun went off. That being said, I did not expect this gun to discharge. I had experienced a jam, which I thought was a failure to feed, but I didn't know that there was a round in there, and that when I remove the magazine, you'll see as soon as I remove the magazine, when that bolt slams forward, it goes off. And I think that's known as a slam fire, if I'm not mistaken. My guess is that the firing pin was stuck in a forward position. The bolt was caught on the magazine, and when I removed the magazine, the bolt went forward and the firing pin hit the primer, and then the gun went off. You know, this is an example of why you always have a gun pointed in a safe direction, no matter what. If it's loaded, if it's unloaded, doesn't matter. Always have it pointed in a safe direction. I was simply removing the magazine, and I had my finger over the trigger guard. My finger was like this. This is okay. In my eyes, this is not okay. Okay, not okay. Okay, not okay. Okay, not okay. The only thing that I wish that I did, that I didn't do, was when I had that malfunction, immediately put the gun on safe. Even if I wasn't able to put the gun on safe, if I would have gone to switch the safety lever, I would have realized that I couldn't put it on safe, therefore sliding the bolt back so that I could put it on safe and charging it. I suppose I would have pointed the gun a little bit further down, but it hit a bank. There was nothing but a wall of dirt there, and there was no people shooting. So there's no one over there to that right side of me. So I'm lucky. I conducted myself in a way that was safe, and therefore no one around me and I didn't get hurt. But this is an example of why you always maintain proper safety techniques around firearms. Whether you're 3D printing them or not, they still go bang, and they still are lethal weapons that must be taken very, very, very seriously. So it's cool making your own guns, and it's cool printing these parts and using them, but this is no joke. You will have malfunctions, and when those things happen, you have to always be safe. Anyway, back to the video. Try not to get discouraged. This is supposed to be fun after all. A little frustration, but that's all right. I think I've got 5 in here, 4 or 5. I'm gonna try to see if I can just get through 5 shots without a malfunction. Let's try it. Yes. All right, that felt good. All right, maybe it's just, I think it's just the kinks have to get worked out with this mag well. I gotta file it down a little bit more, and once I do that, it should be good to go. Because I think it's just not quite getting up there, seated the way it should, and that's what's causing the feeding issues. Oh. Yeah.